Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now you may have seen this little beastie hiding in some of the background shots of previous videos. This is my stepdad's 1987 Vauxhall Cavalier Mk2. Now this has been in the family since it was 3 years old, so it is a bit of a family heirloom as such. It's had quite extensive work done to it over the last couple of years. It's had, I'll show you around in a second, but a lot of body work to keep it nice. Now it's probably the least desirable spec Cavalier you could possibly imagine. It's a base model L 1.3 in beige. How more undesirable could you get? But therein lies its charm, because there's none left. It's one of one effectively. I don't know if it's one of one, but I would say it's probably quite rare. So because this was actually stored elsewhere while the work was being done, and I unfortunately lost the storage, there was a bit of a mad panic to get it back together so I could get it MOT'd and brought back here. So you can see we've got no mouldings on the sides yet. This front bumper's a little bit loose, and various other jobs that we need to sort out. So we need to go over it and get it all up to scratch, because this is actually going to become my daily driver again for a little while, because the MX-5, which you may have seen in my first Fiesta video, needs some work. The Puma is obviously in bits still, and I need a car. So the old Cavalier is coming back to the forefront and going to be used again. So let's crack on. Okay, I'll give you a little walk around of the Cavalier just so you can see what it's like. Now, over the past probably couple of years now, it's had brand new seals all the way along, and they're not over seals either, because when we actually stripped the car down, it had two lots of over seals over the originals, so it effectively had 3 seals on the car and nothing fitted properly. So these have been taken right back. The inners were fine. It's had new complete seals, inner and outer wheel arches. You can see they've all been spot welded in the original place as well. I was lucky I had access to a spot welder when I did this. The inner arches were actually made up from BMW E30 rear arches, because the inner arches on a Cavalier aren't available. So under there, we've actually, is one of the jobs we've got to do. We need to stone chip those rear arches to protect them before anything goes rusty. It's had new corner panel underneath on this side to match the arch, so they're mint. We've got to put the fuel cap back on. That's another job. There's a moulding here which needs to go back on. Also a moulding that goes along here that needs to go back on. Around the back's pretty okay. This was all painted, by the way. Everything's been painted. That lower valance was repaired. That's okay, it's in good nick now. Same this side, corner panel under the bumper. Only a section of it on this side though. Rear arch, an inner again, and a complete seal. Now that's been spot welded all the way along the bottom there as well, so that is all looking original, and it's got a stone chip line which I got them to put in when they painted it, just so it looks right. Again, the mouldings on this side need to be fitted as well, along with that trim and that trim. These locks were fitted from new, believe it or not, and they're the extra dead locks. Now that mark around it is just Vauxhall, so that's just needs to get a bit of a clean off. Now the most pressing job on this car is the starter motor is just packed up on it, so I've got to do a starter motor on it, and also we've got to attach this front bumper a bit better because it's a little bit loose. It's only the lower trim on the corners aren't connected, which is something I ran out of time doing, so I need to sort that out. Also it needs an engine mount, and it needs, can't remember what else, but don't worry, we'll go through it all, obviously, to get it all where it should be. But yeah, on the whole, front arch liners, they need to go back in as well. Another job. So there's going to be quite a few little jobs on this, but I think you'd agree, now it's all done bodywork wise, it looks pretty tidy. I'm quite pleased with it. In its hearing aid beige colour. I apologise for the noise in the background. There's some building work going on over the back and they haven't stopped making noise all day, so I can't really avoid getting around that at the moment. So yeah, there we go. And just quickly, you see the Puma in the background there. Just show you inside. I've got a plastic seat cover in there at the moment, but as I said, poverty spec, windy windows, no central locking, manual tilt and slide sunroof in there, nice brown interior. Now it says 30,000 miles on the clock, but that's on it, actually on its third time round, so it's 230,000 now. So this old car's doing all right. It really is. To show you in the back as well, have to flick the button up on the door to get in, and it's not been open that long, it's stuck. Got the kids seat in the back there at the moment, but you can see the nice brown seats, lovely. Again, manual windows, something you don't see in cars now. Ashtray in the back, both sides. Bit of a random one, isn't it? To lock the door again, you push the button down and shut it. Now, since we've had these seals done, another job we've got to do, put that trim back in there. Since we've had the seals done, these doors now shut. Really nice. Before, because the panels were so thick on the bottoms on the seals, you really had to slam them. Now, they go easy as anything. You can actually, literally, do that, and it doesn't even have to be really pushed very hard at all. A few cobwebs on there, look. So let's crack on with the jobs on this, shall we? And see if we can get it sorted out. Rightio then. This is the immaculately clean. I say that very loosely. No, it's not really immaculate at all. Engine bay on the Cavalier with a little 1.3 lump in there. And the starter motor, or the offending article, is there. So it's not too difficult to get to. It looks like a Valio unit on there actually, which I'm quite surprised that's gone wrong, because usually Valio are a pretty good make. So first thing we need to do is get the battery disconnected, because I don't particularly want sparks flying everywhere when we get this out and take the leads off of it. And then we'll have a little look and see what we need to get and take it with us to the local motor factors and see if we can get another one. Let's get started. So there we are, that was fairly painless. 2 bolts, 13mm, and one 13mm on the main stud for the battery, and one little 10mm for the auxiliary line there for the solenoid to kick in and out. Now I didn't think this was that old, but having said that, it says 2008 on there, so it is 12 years old. So where that time, I don't know where that time's gone, but there we go. It is a Valio unit, as you can see there, and at least now we've got a part number which we can reference to get a new one. So off to the motor factors and see what we can find. Lovely jubbly. Okay, unfortunately the starter motor from my local motor factors is not actually available anymore, so it looks like we're going to have to go online to get that. While we're here though, and I've got the airbox off, so it's about time we change this rocker cover gasket. As you can see, it's weeping from all around here. It has been renewed before, but for whatever reason it's not sealed. It is a cork gasket. I don't think any extra sealer was put on last time, so this time around I'm going to put a little smear of extra silicone sealer on the cork gasket to hopefully seal it up properly, and that should stop a lot of this oil from obviously dripping onto the exhaust manifold and making a smell. So let's crack on with that. Now we've got that cover off, you can see inside there it's actually really clean. There's no wear on the cam lobes at all really. It's all in pretty good condition. Now these Vauxhalls tend to run a bit hot and they do sometimes get a bit caked up in the top of the old rocker there, but this one looks really good actually. A bit manky inside the cover, but nothing too horrendous. I'll give that a little bit of clean out with some thinners or something, and then we can get this new gasket put on and hopefully stop this leak. You can see where it's been leaking around the edge of here, along here, around these sort of bottom half, because it's slightly tilted towards the front of the car. So let's get that cleaned up and we'll get the new one on. Okay, looks a bit cleaner, not perfect, but a hell of a lot better than it was. So we've got that all cleaned up, both on the engine and on the rocker cover. Surfaces are both nice and smooth. Got a new rocker gasket here. So now we need to get that out and get some sealer on it, which I've got some of this Loctite black silicone stuff, which is higher temperature for oil seals and stuff like that. Now this cork gasket is actually different to the one that came off, in the fact that it's got a coating on both sides. See the cork in the middle, the actual black, the sides are actually black. So what we'll do, we'll get a smear of silicone on here, not much, just a little bit, and then we can place that on the rocker cover and that will stick to that, so when we put it on the engine we know it's in exactly the right spot. Okay, you would have seen that bit of time lapse me putting the sealer on the rocker. I've done the same on the gasket side as well, so that can now go on and hopefully it will seal up nice. And what I'll do, I'll just nip up a couple of bolts for now just to hold it down, and then when it goes off slightly I'll clamp it down a bit more, and then that will allow the gasket to seal nice. Obviously you don't want to go too tight on these anyway, because it is only a cork gasket and it will just crush it, which obviously you don't want. I mean, obviously you want it crushed a little bit, not obviously flat, otherwise it will lose all of its sealing potential as such. I've lost a bolt. It's on the floor. That's the last one. Go, and that should be nice and snug now, and we'll leave that for a while before we go any further. Let that sealer go off a little bit, and then we'll just snug it down a bit more with a ratchet once it's gone off a little bit. Hopefully that should cure our leak. Lovely jubbly. Okay, next little job we've got to do on the Cavalier is this engine mount here. Now if I put a bar in here, you'll be able to see how much movement is actually in this bottom mount. It is a bit excessive. I'd say that's pretty past it. And we've got a new one to fit here, which goes that way, like that. It's just a rubber mount. I've had this in the garage for absolutely ages, and it's about time we put it on. So let's get that fitted. Okay, you would have seen that bit of time lapse there, me struggling to get that mount out, mainly because I think the mount of the side of the gearbox has to come off to get it out in one piece. But as you can see from here, the old one is actually in 3 bits, which obviously it shouldn't be. It should be one piece on its own. So that mount was doing absolutely nothing. So let's get this new one put in, and hopefully that'll improve the characteristics of the engine not joggling about so much. Let's go. Right, the mount is all in, and I am very surprised how much, look, how much movement there now isn't in it. That was absolutely terrible before, now it's absolutely solid. So that should be good for another good few thousand miles. Actually, I mean, that mount that was on there, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, is actually the original. Where is it now? It says there, I don't know if you can see it, but on there's a GM stamp. I don't think you can see it on camera very well, just about see it. So that is the original mount from 1987, so no wonder it's had it. So that's another good little job. Next thing we've got to sort out is this lower bumper valance. So the next job on the Cavalier was the front bumper spoiler, as I said, but rain has stopped play. It's all manky out there now. I'm back in the garage, and obviously I can't bring the Cavalier in here because the starter motor's packed up, which we're still waiting for. I've now ordered that online, so that will be here hopefully in a couple of days, fingers crossed, and we can get that running again and crack on through the other jobs. So there will be a little series on the Cavalier, just to obviously get it back up to scratch, a few episodes I would have thought, and then we can get it driving and rocking and rolling again. So I just want to say again, thank you very much for watching the channel. I do really appreciate it, and if you like what you see, hit that thumbs up and subscribe button. That really helped me out, and obviously you can ring the bell for notifications every time I upload a video. Cheers guys.